I'd like to call the Gurnee Village Board regular meeting of May 6, 2019 to order. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood. Here. Thorstensen.
Here.
Jacobs. Ross.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
Balmas.
Present.
5 present, 1 absent.
All right, and Trustee Jacobs is unable to make it tonight. He is celebrating the graduation of his son from the University of Alabama. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone. This is a very exciting night for us. It's the start of our fiscal year. We're going to introduce and seat some new faces up here and get some new faces sworn in as leadership. But I am going to start the night on a somewhat somber note. I'd like to make a few remarks. Our sincerest condolences and prayers go out to the families who have lost a loved one, and those that are recovering from injuries are in our prayers daily from the terrible workplace accident this past Friday. I am incredibly thankful and proud of the skill and bravery of the Gurnee Fire Department Friday evening. It was our black shift, led by Battalion Chief David Douglas. Many of our firefighters from other shifts rushed in to help, assist, or serve as backup. Chief Kavanaugh, thank you for your leadership and management of the department. I'm also thankful that the Village Board continues to invest in the best training, resources, and equipment for our fire department. Countless hours of planning and training go into preparedness for these types of incidents that we pray never happen. But when they do, we have the absolute best of the best protecting this village. That includes the extraordinary handling of an unprecedented number of calls by our communication operators, who also stayed laser-focused on communicating vital, critical information to our teams at the scene, coordinating coverage of the village at the same time, and additional support from outside agencies that were coming to the rescue too. Our police officers were instrumental in securing the scene so the fire department could do their work and making sure additional personnel were able to access the scene as they arrived. Our utility team stayed on top of our water distribution system through the night to ensure there was adequate pressure and no interruption of service when the system was under stress. And I'm appreciative of Jack's efforts and decisions on how much and what information to release to our residents, plus managing the inquiries and social media with Battalion Chief Haraver. If at any moment it was determined there was the slightest risk to the public, we would have been able to make that notification, including instructions, in a matter of minutes to every single household. To everyone who responded and worked Friday night into Saturday morning, the village and I are very proud and say thank you. And even those not on duty Saturday night, every department contributes and supports in some way when police and fire respond to an emergency. So our pride and thanks extend to the whole team for what all of you do every day to protect this community. Please join me. All right. Now we will get on to our transition business. So we're doing these as individual tonight? No.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's what you told me. So first, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April 15th, 2019 Village Board meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Thorstensen, second by Trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
5 aye.
Motion carries. Approval of payroll for period ending April 12th, 2019, in the amount of $796,493.92.
Move to approve.
Motion by trustee Ross, second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
5-0.
Motion carries. Approval of payroll for period ending April 26th, 2019, in the amount of $833,230.08. Motion to approve. Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
5-0.
All right. Motion carries. We're honored tonight to have the most honorable Judge Winter with us, and she is going to administer the oath of office for each of our newly... Oh, I missed the bills? Oh, I guess we should pay the bills first. Some people might be a little upset with that. Approval of bills for the period ending May 6, 2019, in the amount of $873,196.71.
Motion approved.
Motion by trustee Thorntonson, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
5-0.
All right, motion carries. Now, the Honorable Judge Winter will swear in each of our newly elected officials. And we have the oaths here. We're going to do them in alphabetical order. So Greg, you go first. If you'd like your family to join you.
My family, please rise. We're in church.
Oh, wow, you got a lot of your family here. Hey, guys.
Diane, do you want the mic?
I state your name,
I, Gregory Garner,
having been elected to the office
having been elected to the office
of trustee in the village of Gurnee
of trustee in the village of Gurnee
in the county of Lake,
in the county of Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of trustee
the duties of the office of trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a pen?
Do I have a pen? I do. I had one. Yes, I do.
Here we go. Okay, he's got one.
Where am I signing?
Where is he? That's the notary. He's in there. All right, one done. Thank you.
Done?
Good. Family picture.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for coming out. This is really my birthday. It's our 30th anniversary today. I got sworn in, so I hit the trifecta. So where you guys want me to like you like each other.
We have Quinn O'Brien.
Quinn O'Brien. I know, I saw you. There he is. Our new trustee is going to join us. Yes, yes. Bring your family up. Join
My wife, Maria, Mom. Come on now.
after me. I state your name.
I, Quinn O'Brien,
Having been elected to the office
having been elected to the office
of trustee in the village of Gurnee
of trustee in the village of Gurnee,
in the county of Lake,
in the county of Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of office of trustee
the duties of office of trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
I have a bunch of people here. So we have a whole contingency from my Go Gurnee. Yay. Stand up, guys. Stand up. Go Gurnee! And we have a whole bunch of my neighbors here, and anyone who might be watching this later on the podcast. Boy, oh boy. Thank you so much for electing me because I didn't advertise. I'm only standing here because lots of people told other people that I may be good for that position. So thank you so much.
Mr. O'Brien? Mr. O'Brien? Yeah, right there.
Trustee Ross, re-election.
All right. Okay. He's taking the pictures? Oh, no, he got somebody else to take it. All right. So if you'd raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Cheryl Ross,
Having been elected to the office
having been elected to the office
of trustee in the village of Gurnee
of trustee in the village of Gurnee,
in the county of Lake,
in the county of Lake,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of trustee
the duties of the office of trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
My husband Dave obviously did not know his big sister. We have a lot to do, so no sleep.
Thank you. That's all right. That's it.
All right. Andy, please take roll call of the newly seated board.
Balmas.
Present.
Hood.
Here.
Thorstensen.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
6 present.
All right. First item of business with the new board is approval of the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Motion by trustee Garner.
Second.
Second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please, Andy.
Balmas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Yes.
6 aye.
All right. Motion carries. Patrick, please read the consent agenda into the record.
Item number 1, approval of ordinance 2019-28, removing one Class 1 and one Class 7 liquor license by amending Section 6-56 of Article 2 of Chapter 6 of the Gurnee Municipal Code entitled Alcoholic Beverages. Item number 2, approval of Engineering Division's recommendation to award the 2019 crack ceiling program to Patriot Pavement Maintenance at a cost not to exceed $75,000, Lake County Municipal League Cooperative Purchasing Program 2017 pricing. Item number 3, approval of Engineering Division's recommendation to award 2019 pavement marking program to Precision Pavement Marking, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $50,000, Lake County Municipal League Cooperative Purchasing Program 2018 pricing.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read into the record? Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Balmas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
6 aye.
Motion carries. We'll move on to petitions and communications. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we really do appreciate our teachers. And in recognition of the work that they do all year long in nurturing our youngest residents, Trustee Hood approached me several years ago now with an idea that with the importance of our teachers, we really do need to recognize them. And so tonight, Trustee Hood is going to introduce and award our Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Mayor. So I invite you to come on down, Mayor, to the front, as well as Laura Diaz, or State Representative. Is she present?
Yes, Joyce.
Oh, sorry, walk right down. Wait, she was coming. Come on. So as the Mayor said, actually this is our 6th year that we've had the opportunity to recognize teachers in our district, and we just recognize that without good schools and good teachers, that we don't have a whole lot here in town. And it's just an opportunity that the village board and the mayor gets the opportunity to come together and recognize that. And I can just say it's been a distinct pleasure, because what's happened is the schools have really run with this, is that the superintendents have taken this seriously. They put it out to their teachers, to their students, to their parents, and they really come up with some awesome candidates. And each of these people that we recognize each of these 6 years, you would never probably have known about unless you were in their class or unless you worked with them. But we have the opportunity to find out more about them because they're selected today to be Teacher of the Year for their district. And also, if I could just welcome up Mr. Henderson as well. He's Henderson Foundation, and Don, also my stepdad. I leaned on him a little bit on the money side, and he was more than happy to contribute $1,000 to each of the teachers each of the years. And it's really his heart, because if you know a little bit about him, he's a very generous man. He's been very generous not only with CLC, at Warren, with our fire department, just everywhere he touches, he's generous. So this isn't an exception, this is really a norm for him, so I just appreciate him participating in this. So for the first teacher tonight, for District 56, so I'll welcome up Dr. Paquette and teacher Kathy Kibet-Luski.
Well done.
Did I do that? So to talk a little bit about the teacher that she knows so well and introduce her to you. And then we'll provide her with, Mr. Edison will provide her with a check, and we'll go from there. And, oh, that's right. And Joyce also has certificates that she'd like to present as well. Yeah.
So I wanted to take a few moments, just a few moments, because I know the agenda is very long, and tell you guys a little bit about Kathy Kibet-Luski, who's here this evening receiving this award on behalf of District 56. There's every superintendent who will come here tonight, but I'm the first one, so I get to say it. We have about 200 other folks just like her back in our district office that deserve to be recognized as well. Kathy's been with the district for many years. I told her I wouldn't say how long, because I like her. She'll turn the tables on me later. She has worked at Oak Plain School, which is now referred to as River Trail School, and then when we moved to Prairie Trail School in Washington, Kathy went with the program there. She was a classroom teacher for many years, but lately she's been the Library Resource Center teacher, and has done a fabulous job with that. So to describe what Kathy does, who we lovingly refer to as Kids, Kathy Lucy, we just call her Gibbs. She is a central figure at Prairie Trail School. She is kind of the cornerstone person that keeps that building focused on things, not just academic, but reminding us that our kids are human beings that need to do fun things and spend time together exploring and creating and all of those things that sometimes gets lost in this very test-driven world that we're in right now. So Kathy's really great at reminding everybody we need to look at this. As the Library Media Center person, she's very much an encourager and lover of reading, and she brings kids together for assemblies, for dances that the teachers put on. They make movies about it, they sing songs about it to remind them that reading is supposed to be fun and create joy in your heart for reading. And Kathy is the person who promotes that the most throughout our district, not just in Prairie Trail School. And by doing all of that and creating those events and bringing everybody together, she is a major influencer in the culture and climate of Prairie Trail School. It brings the school together. Everybody loves and works with kids great, and the kids love her. And I think she's probably got some students here that might have been in her class at some point in time. So it's a real thrill to be able to recognize Kathy Lucy for all the terrific things that she does and the way she touches all of the kids in our district.
Thank you very much.
So what I'd like to do, actually, just interrupt this, since this is State Representative Joyce Mason's first opportunity to do this. Maybe she could just say a little bit about what she's handing out as well, since I'm not as familiar with what you're handing out. So maybe everybody else would like to know. So
sure, thank you.
About this too.
Can you hear me? Great, thank you so much. So I'm Joyce Mason, State Representative of the 61st District, and teachers have a very special place in my heart coming from the Woodland School Board, and so I have asked the state of Illinois to recognize each of these teachers. It's been put in the official record, and we're presenting them with a certificate of the achievement.
So I'd like to invite down Dr. Laura Casey and also Vianney Soriaga. Is that close? There you go. And Dr. Casey.
Thank you. There were, in Woodland, as you know, we're larger, and we had 135 teachers that were nominated for this award. And we had 210 people nominate those people. And of all those teachers, VNA rose to the top. It's quite a statement for you. A little bit of background on VNA, and I did write it down so I didn't forget, because she's been with us for a long time. She's been with us for 20 years in a number of capacities. And she's been a kindergarten teacher. She's been she teaches English as a second language, a bilingual first grade teacher. She was part of our Spanish first grade program, or dual language program, and now she's teaching reading recovery, which means she works with our bilingual students by helping them accelerate their literacy in both languages. I felt the best way to describe you, because when it was announced at Elementary West, the school erupted, because everybody knew how excited they were and how well-deserved it was for VNA. And when I went back, everybody that found out was just as pleased, because she really does represent what we want all our teachers to be. And as Dr. Packett said, there are so many teachers that we have that are phenomenal in this city, and we're so lucky and fortunate to have you recognize them. So thank you all very much. I didn't mean to stand in front of you, Joyce. Let me just read one of the nominations that was given for VNA. Mrs. Soriaga, if there were more hours in the day, I'm convinced that VNA would use them to support the students that she stewards. VNA's nurturing, caring, and professional demeanor provides her students with a stress-free place to learn and develop, free from judgment and unnecessary pressure. Her students succeed because of her care for them and her ability to provide them with a relaxing environment to explore all of their capabilities. Congratulations.
So as some of you might know that actually Joyce Swoboda, Superintendent Joyce Swoboda, this is her last year, and as it so happens, last year's last year. Okay, next year's last year, okay. And Dr. Casey actually is the heir apparent, so yes. So last but not least is Dr. Algrim and Jason Jeckman for District 121, our Warren Township High School District.
Thanks, Tom. No. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much, first off, to the Henderson Foundation, Mr. Henderson, for your generosity and continuing to support our teachers throughout Gurnee. Also, thank you to the Village of Gurnee. It's very unique, this very public honor and celebration of our teachers. And obviously, we are in a wonderful profession, and so many people are out here this evening to help celebrate these three teachers, but also teaching in general, which we're very proud of. It's such an honor for me to have Jason up here with us this evening. A few decades ago, Jason started his teaching career after he received his bachelor's degree in English and history from Eastern Illinois University, began his teaching career. Since then has received his master's degree in educational leadership from National Louis. And for the last 25 years, we've been so fortunate at Warren to have Jason as a critical member of our family. Many of you know Jason because he's a very valued community member in everything he does, including his teaching in history in his classrooms, his interaction with colleagues at Warren, his role in leadership over our Teachers Association, his coaching in track and field and cross country, and generally just the overarching relationships that he has with people within our organization. He is by far one of our strongest leaders, not only as a professional, but as a person. And most importantly, his character is second to none, and he's a tremendous role model for our students as well as for our staff. So it's my honor to bring forth Jason Jeckman as our 2019 Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, everybody, for your support. I know the teachers really appreciate it, and we especially, the village board, the mayor, appreciate you all coming out. So thank you.
All right, we are so blessed to have so many wonderful teachers. All right, the next privilege and honor belongs to me. I'm going to administer the oath of office for the promotion of Brian Smith, from promotion of the Deputy Police Chief Brian Smith to Police Chief. So if you want to join me down front with your family. You ready for this? I was just asking if he wanted to change his mind after the last few months. We really are honored tonight to be able to promote Brian, an internal promotion to police chief. I know he has the support of the police department. You have the support of the village board, the whole staff, and especially me. So are you ready for this? All right. Raise your right hand. Ready? Okay. All right. I, Brian Smith.
I, Brian Smith.
Having been appointed to the office of Chief of Police.
Having been appointed to the office of Chief of Police.
In the village of Gurnee.
In the village of Gurnee.
In the county of Lake.
In the county of Lake.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Illinois.
The Constitution of the State of Illinois.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Chief of Police
the duties of the office of Chief of Police
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Excellent.
Thank you. I'll try and keep it short, but congratulations to the teachers, to Dr. Casey, if she's still in the room. Real quickly to Trustee Gardner, you have a beautiful family, and you did hit the trifecta. Too bad not on Sunday. So, thank you, Madam Mayor, for this opportunity. I certainly appreciate it. Village Board, thank you for your support. Mr. Mutes, thank you for your support. To the Police Department, it is an honor to stand here and represent you. I've appreciated working here my entire career. I'm very fortunate and blessed. It's a humbling experience, but I have the opportunity and we have the opportunity to lead you as we move into the future. To my family, my dad, thank you. I appreciate you being here and all the support. My mom, thank you. To my father-in-law, Jim, again, thank you guys. Obviously, your support in being available for Tracy and I to help Jacob and be with him and watch him is immense to our careers. So thank you very much. Jacob, nice job, buddy. That was... I'm proud of you, and I love you. Thank you. To my wife, Tracy, you're my best friend. Thank you for all of the support, especially these last 4 months. Made possible because of everything that you do for me. So thank you very much, and I love you. I saw the sheriff is in the house, so thank you for being here tonight, sir. We spoke earlier, but I do appreciate your attendance very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Chief Woodside is here somewhere. I'm looking for the beard. There you are, sir. So he's no longer in standards, but he doesn't need to be. For those of you that recall, Chief Woodside led this department for the last 8 years. And I am honored to have been his deputy chief, and with his assistance and his support, be given this opportunity today. So, Kevin, thank you for everything you've done for the men and women of the department, the community, and for myself. Thank you, sir. I have a couple of special friends in the house I just wanted to mention very quickly because they've been here before and I missed that opportunity. Detective Alejos Villalobos is a childhood friend. He's from Waukegan. Chris DeVore is a childhood friend. All of us, we go back, well, I don't want to age us, but probably 40 years or so. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all the support that you have provided, both Tracy and I love you guys, and thank you. You guys, Mom, Dad, Jim, you guys want to come up and take pictures? One last person, I see he snuck in late, but another childhood friend who's here is Detective Matt Thornton from Zion. Again, we've all grown up with each other and known each other since we were probably 4 or 5 years old, so thank you for being here.
All right, again, I am most honored, and we are privileged as a village to be promoting Commander Jesse Gonzalez to Deputy Police Chief. If you'd please join me with your family. You can't change your mind. I won't let you. All right, raise your right hand. I, Jesse Gonzalez,
I, Jesse Gonzalez,
having been appointed to the office of Deputy Chief
having been appointed to the office of Deputy Chief
in the village of Gurnee,
in the village of Gurnee,
in the county of Lake,
in the county of Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Deputy Chief
the duties of the office of Deputy Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Oh, so happy. All right, let's get it pinned on so it's official. It's probably probably a pin that was broken in.
I want to just start out by thanking you, Mayor, for this opportunity. Mr. Mutes, thank you, sir, and the village board. And I want to thank my wife, Tracy, and my daughter, Maya, and my son, Matt, who's off at college tonight studying for finals. And I also want to just thank the men and women of the Gurnee Police Department for giving me this opportunity to serve you in this role. And there's a lot of people here that my friends, my family friends, relatives that are here, and mom and dad, thank you for everything. And my brothers are here with my nieces, and I have cousins that are here. And there's another special guest that came tonight. As a young man growing up, I had a great mentor. Gretchen, can you just stand up for a second? As Gretchen was she's a retired teacher, but along the way she made a big impact in my life and straightened me out to go in the right path. And I'm here today because of a lot of the things that she helped me with as growing up as a young man. And then I have my law enforcement friends in the back that also supported me throughout my career, and without them, I learned a lot from them, and that's why I'm here today, because of your support, your help. And without that support, you always need someone to help you along the way. And I want to just thank all of you for being here tonight. And I have my mother-in-law that's here tonight, and so thank you for being here, Grandma. Okay. Family, come on up for pictures.
You only get to do this once. Family pictures.
Family pictures.
We should do a picture of the three of us too for Jack.
Okay.
Come on, family. Now, where are the Mirachis? I thought you guys were going to bring the... All right, I'll stay out of the way here. Whoa, whoa. He said he was going to bring the mariachi thing. Wow. All right.
You did a great job.
He's not blinking.
I smile too much. I think stop.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, he was here. I would have had him stand up and recognize him individually. I didn't realize he was here.
Yeah, there it is.
Now I don't see him. Did he leave? All right. Very important to have leadership at the top with the police department, but we also have a lot of other staff that are very critical to our operations, so I'd like to move on to approval of the staff and advisory board appointments as recommended by Mayor Kovarik. I'm going to read them each into the record. Village staff would be Village Administrator, Patrick Mutz. Community Development Director, Assistant Village Administrator, David Ziegler. Village Engineer, Heather Galan. Public Works Director, Tom Rigwood. I don't have to do Brian again, do I? Police Chief, Brian Smith. Fire Chief, John Kavanaugh. ESDA Director, and he's also the ESDA Director. I need to read this. Finance Director, Brian Gosnell. Treasurer, Patrick Mutz. IMRF Agent, Brian Gosnell. Budget Officer, Patrick Mutz. Village Attorney, Brian Winter. Deputy Village Clerk, Donna Dallas. Planning and Zoning Board, we have the reappointment of Tim Garrity, Josh Pescat. Pasak. Laura Riley and Dave Nordentoff, their terms will expire April 2021. On the Civil Service Commission, Diane Summers, her term would expire April 2022. Robert Monahan on the Ethics Commission, his term would expire April 2022. For our Police Pension Board, John Mentor, his term would expire April 2021. Fire Pension Board, Mary Jo Colrose, her term would expire April 2021. And our Administrative Hearing Officer, Yolanda Torres, her term would expire April 2020. Do I have a motion to approve these appointments?
Second.
Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee Ross. Roll call, please. Andy?
Hood.
Yes.
Nope, that's the wrong order. Sorry. I wasn't ready for that. All right, Balmas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right, teams all together. Item number 5 is approval of a proclamation designating May 2019 as the Building Safety Month. The Community Development Department and Fire Prevention Bureau address critical safety issues in the building environment that affect citizens in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And our confidence is achieved through the devotion of building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And these officials develop and implement the highest quality codes to protect Americans in the buildings where we live, work, and play. And the international codes, the most widely adopted building safety, energy, and fire prevention codes in the nation, are used by most U.S. cities, counties, and states. And Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our local code officials play in public safety by preventing fires, accidents, and ensuring structures are safe. And this year's theme, No Code, No Confidence, encourages all Americans to raise awareness of the importance of safe and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, and new technologies in the construction industry. And each year, in observance of Public Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider improvements to building safety and sustainability at home and in the community while acknowledging the service provided by local building departments that protect lives and property. Now therefore I, Christina Kovarik, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim May 2019 is Building Safety Month in the Village of Gurnee. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee Thorstenson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, it's Building Safety Month. Item number 6 is an approval of a proclamation designating May 12th through 18th, 2019 as National Police Week in the Village of Gurnee. The Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And the members of the Gurnee Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Gurnee. And it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And the men and women of the Gurnee Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Christina Kovarik, Mayor of the Village of Gurnee, call upon all citizens of the Village of Gurnee and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 12th through 18th, 2019 as Police Week. I further call upon all citizens of the Village of Gurnee to observe Wednesday, May 15th, 2019, as Police Officers Memorial Day in honor of those enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'm going to let Trustee O'Brien have that motion, second by Trustee Ross. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. National Police Week. Item number 7, National Public Works Week. This one's near and dear to my heart. National Public Works Week is a celebration of the tens of thousands of men and women in North America who provide and maintain the infrastructure and services collectively known as public works. And National Public Works Week is observed each year during the third full week of May to raise the public's awareness of public works issues and to increase confidence in public works employees who are dedicated to improving the quality of life for present and future generations. And the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, streets and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of the public works officials and people's attitudes and understanding of the importance of work performed by the dedicated personnel who staff public works departments improves the efficiency of such services. Now therefore I, Christina Kovarik, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through May 25th, 2019 as National Public Works Week in the Village of Gurnee, and I call upon all citizens to acquaint themselves with issues involved in providing public works services and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee O'Brien. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. All right. It is National Public Works Week. All right. It's always a busy month. Our first report, and I'm going to add one to the agenda and after Jack goes, but our first report is from Jack tonight on residential refuse and recycling contract renewal, and it's got a few twists in it. So you want to introduce it? Or?
There's no
All right.
introduction. We've been working with Waste Management to renegotiate the contract in conjunction with the Village of Grays Lake, Warren Township, and the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County. So Jack's just going to give you some highlights here on where we're at and hoping to bring it to you the next board meeting.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Board. So to kind of talk a little bit about the background of our current waste management contract. So we've been a waste management customer for over 20 years. Our current contract was in May 2014 and it expires at the end of this month. And it applies to all single-family and townhome residents. Multifamily does have the option under our commercial franchise to also use waste management. So to kind of talk a little bit about the renewal process and kind of how we got to where we are. So we teamed up with the Village of Grays Lake and Warren Township. The reason we picked these two partners to team up with was because of our similarities. All three contracts end in 2019. We all have a similar structure and nature. They all do leaf pickup when we do leaf pickup. And all three communities already use waste management. So summer of 2018, we all met. We reviewed bid options and recent bid results from other communities to see what some of the results were. And we did this with Swalco. And just some highlights, some examples of recent extensions, agreements. Round Lake Beach, had a 2 to 4% increase with some fixed year. Fox Lake, 2-year price freeze, 2.5% increase thereafter. So across the board, but we're seeing basically anywhere between as low as 2% or 1.75 up to 3.5, most of them based on inflation that were increases for their contracts. So some of the challenges that we have with going out to bid or doing a renewal, so kind of as to why we're not at the bid stage. Gurnee, Grays Lake, and Warren Township, as I mentioned earlier, we each have a leaf collection program, and this is an important part of our contract and a service we offer our residents. There aren't many competitors that offer it anymore. The second thing is one of the major competitors, Advanced Disposal, is no longer in the marketplace. They're being acquired by Waste Management. So the number of firms out there is decreasing as is. Another thing that we had to consider is Waste Management's location with the Countryside landfill does help for lower pricing. They usually do get the best pricing for our area. And then also recycling values continue to decline for the haulers and for commodities. So they're always looking for ways to make up those losses to try to continue to make a normal profit. And recent bid results have not been more favorable than negotiated renewals. And the reason this is because with an RFP and a bid, it's essentially a blind offer. They send us an offer and we take the lowest offer. With our negotiated renewal process we did with Swalco, we could do some more negotiation. And so over the course of about 6 months, we were able to hash out a contract that we believe would be more fair for our residents. And then the final part and a big challenge is if we do a swap out with a new vendor, after 20 years of one vendor, it's a lot of change. So it's all new accounts, new setting up billing, requiring significant staff investment to manage the implementation of a new vendor. It's a major process. And it's not something that we were opposed to, and when we went into the process last year, we had that as an open mind. But looking through the markets, and for all these reasons, essentially is why we didn't take this to bid and why we've been proposing a renewal. So we utilize Swalco's expertise in this field. We couldn't have done this without them. It's part of the benefit that they can provide communities is they have an extensive knowledge of the trash market or the waste markets. So after our 6 months of final negotiations, we finally have an agreement ready for the approval on May 20th. The nice thing about this is we're also able to use group purchasing power. And by this I mean we're able to see whatever the lowest any of us got, whether it was Grays Lake had lower pricing for one, we were able to take advantage of it. So everybody got to benefit from working together. So this was a good opportunity or a good example of local government cooperation, that we're 3 separate tax bodies, but we have a similar purpose. So some of the renewals, it's a 5-year agreement, rate freeze for year 1, and then after it's a 2.5% increase. There's a reduction of the landscape subscription by $10 a year, so this will benefit residents who utilize that subscription. We're also proposing a 30-cent per month elimination from the Recycle Bank program. So, and I'll get a little bit more into this later, but the Recycle Bank program has served a very good purpose. However, we've found that the offerings that they have in the Midwest area have declined over the years. Our usage isn't as high as we would like, and so we think that for 30 cents per month of savings across the village, we have some other ways that we can promote recycling rather than just Recycle Bank. And then also other options in this is there's an option for a free 20-yard e-cycle container that would be serviced weekly. So what this would be is it's not something that we're going to implement immediately, but there's always the risk of the local drop-off sites like Grays Lake and some of the other ones in the area, Highland Park. If they close down their facilities, where will our residents bring electronics? And so the idea behind this is we could set up a free container. It would be serviced weekly by Waste Management, and it would be for residents only. So there's a lot of challenges with this type of program. So that's something that we're gonna, it's an option in there that we can execute if needed and if it's warranted. But there are things we have to work out with our public works facility first, if that would be the location or wherever we would place it. So we have language to give us flexibility in case of emergency, but it's not something that we're looking to do right away. And same with an option for winter composting. So last year we launched our compost program where residents can mix in food scraps into their weekly landscape, and it can be picked up. The limitation of this program is it's only during the landscape waste season from April to the end of November. So for those who do want to continue a year round, what this would be is this would be about 4 toters that we'd have at another location. I don't want to say Public Works, but it could be Public Works. I don't know. Or another spot. And so what these would do is then people could drop off food scraps. So for the people who are really dedicated and really want to be a part of a food scrapping program, it would give us a year-round option. So these are other things that we can explore. A little bit of logistics we still would have to work out, but they're options in the contract. So just some next steps. So it's coming before you as for a vote on May 20th. And then pending approval, we'll have the agreement signed and ready, and then new pricing goes into effect for June 1st. So for the first year, residents will actually see a decrease in their bill, which is and that's factoring in the price freeze and the recycle bank going away. And with that, I mean, with how the market's been, we think this is a good contract to bring forward. We're happy with the process and happy with negotiations that we have. And then more of the next steps that we'll talk about too is how we'll phase ourselves out of the recycle bank program, because we don't want to leave that as a total drop-off with residents that have banked points for the last 7 years, ready to buy something, and then it ends. So we'll try to find a good way to discuss with recycle bank what the best way we can exit out of the program without it being just an immediate back out, and then also look at recycling promotion options with Swalco too, so that we also are not just giving up on recycling promotion, that we have other ways to promote helpful recycling tips. And so with that, if I have any questions on the contract.
Questions from the trustees? Okay, Trustee Thorstensen?
I just want to make a comment. Thank you. Great recap, Jack. I'll follow with an email to you because we've been talking about during Gurnee Days possibly doing an electronics, some type of recycle. So that'll be fantastic. Thank you.
Trustee O'Brien?
Thank you, Jack, for that. Just curious, is there a risk of Grays Lake and Highland Park going away as far as the e-recycling, or are we just planning for the future?
Currently, it doesn't sound like it. Grays Lake is pretty committed. From a resource perspective, though, it's a big resource drain on Grays Lake. Everybody in the area sends people to Grays Lake, and if you've ever been to that facility, it's quite the process to get it. It's a lot of staff time, a lot of work. That's one of the reasons why we are not a drop-off facility, just because we do not want to take on that resource investment. So there's a chance. It always depends. Right now, the recycling market for electronics has gone back to closer to where it was. It was at a low point a few years ago when the program risked elimination. But lately, the market is increasing again for parts for electronics. So it's making a profit. People are taking it more than they used to. A lot of the big TVs are starting to go away. We're finally getting rid of the 500-pound CRT big screens. So all of that's leading towards electronic recycling being safer.
Thank you.
Trustee Garner?
Food scrapping, how does that work? I mean, you just bring a pile of muck and just dump it in something, or?
Yeah, so how it works with our program, it's a mixed food scrapping program. So essentially, you can take the food, so rather than putting it in your trash, what you do is you put it into a separate container. We actually last summer were selling $5 little lunch pails that are ventilated. And then what you can do is you can bring it out to your landscape waste and place it in the containers. And so the benefit of that is, a little bit of feedback, when you place the food scraps in the landscape waste container instead of your regular trash, it can save, it's good for the environment, and also you have to less frequently empty your trash. Because as some people will know, you can put your food scraps in with your trash and it makes it smell quicker. So this way it's segregating the organics. So, and then, yeah, you put it out with your landscape. Then what it does is it gets brought to a compost facility. We work with DK Organics and Thielen Sand and Gravel. And so it gets brought to those two different facilities, and they then compost it and they sell it for commercial grade good soil. So they use it and repurpose it for soil rather than going to our landfills, causing extra weight and causing the landfills to fill up for something that shouldn't be in the landfill.
Sure. Thank you.
And all our restaurants have the option to do composting under our waste management commercial contract. I just don't know how many have signed up and do use it.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I believe we have one signed up. I
Man,
can't remember who it is right now, but we do have
That's
one
sad.
restaurant.
Other trustees? All right, is there consensus on the contract's good, fairly good, and staff bring it back at May 20th meeting?
I think so.
All right, you got enough direction? Okay. I know it's not on the agenda under reports, but it's timely. So I did ask Chief Kavanaugh to just give a brief recap of Friday night and our response, and then a little bit about our preparedness for these types of events. So again, Chief Kavanaugh, thank you. I cannot tell you how proud I am. I know it's tragic, but this is what we all prepare for. And I know, but amazing job.
Thank you, Mayor. What I figured I'd go over tonight with you is we've had two large incidents up in this area of Lake County. The first started a few weeks ago with an ammonia leak from a farm tractor that was hauling. The reason that's able to be covered and contained and the emergency response goes there, if you remember, we're a member of MABUS. MABUS is where all Lake County fire departments and actually beyond the entire state of Illinois and now Wisconsin, we have pre-set up determined cards where we bring all the specialists in, we're able to respond to incidents like this. So for instance, that morning when that happened at 4:30 in the morning, we responded up there immediately with 4 personnel of ours. We assisted, we had 2 on the ambulance crew, we did some transports there, plus we had some technicians and mechanic there that were able to help mitigate the situation up there. So we responded there through MABUS. Now on Friday night, that incident was a little bit different. When we first got a report into our 911 center, numerous calls of an explosion, no one was able to locate the exact location. So we responded with a full response as if it could be ours because it ended up being a building that's directly kitty corner from our district. So it was, probably 300 to 500 feet outside of our district. So we responded up there with an entire response as we would for any structure fire. So we were there, we set up in our area. Immediately we noticed it was Waukegan's call, so we transferred their frequency and we respected their command system. However, we kept the entire response there due to the size of this. So Waukegan came with the full structural response, Gurnee came with the full structural response. So very early on, you'll see in pictures, there's 2 ladder trucks up, one's Waukegan's, one's ours. As the mayor said, we actually used Gurnee water. We parked on the corner on the Gurnee side, so we were able to use Gurnee water. Waukegan was on their main, which really helped out. We were able to flow gallons, numerous gallons this way. Beyond that, I responded in as the chief officer. I joined Chief Bridges from Waukegan's command staff as an aide. One of the things that we did there was we immediately started to communicate back to our fire station. We refilled our fire station with battalion chief. We brought people in, and Jack actually responded in from home, came in and started saying, what kind of information do we have for the public? So we were able to say to him, use our Twitter feeds, our Facebook, our next store, get it up on a banner on the website. We went with a passive, because right now we just want to let people know to stay out of the area. We didn't have a direct message. As we learned more and more about the chemicals, that we wanted anyone to do anything specific. Now, Jack did have pulled up at the station our reverse 911, our Connect CTY, so he could have, at a moment's notice, sent out a message to everyone, shut your windows, don't leave your house, do whatever. The choice was made after we were able to work through our hazardous materials teams that people sleeping at home, people in their homes, it was best not to send back a reverse 911 in this instance. So we chose not to on this. However, if this would have been an incident where we needed that to happen, we could immediately, and we were prepared to set that off. The reason why we choose to bring people in from home to do that is, you mentioned earlier, our 911 center's phones never stopped. Normally we would rely on them setting off this system if it was a tornado or a severe storm or something like this. But in this case, they wouldn't have the time to do it. So we do have Jack, and we're actually working with a few others, team members, around the village to fill that role if Jack's unable to. Jack could have done this from his home with his laptop as well. So we continue to work on those plans. Those are things we tabletop. We're always doing exercises. The night of Waukegan, our crews were out there from 9:30 at night. They were released about 4:35 in the morning. We did run 5 emergency responses in our own town. When I said we brought callback personnel, and we filled our station back. We had Lake Villa, Grays Lake, and Zion actually in our town running our calls. Waukegan also had all their stations filled. So it was a large production. There were people all the way from Schaumburg, a rescue unit from Schaumburg out here. Buffalo Grove, the whole area, so Mavis was, pushed to its limits a little bit. However, we did have the state of Wisconsin, we could have started bringing down immediately after. So as large an incident as was, we do have this pre-planned. We have systems in place to be able to do things like this and respond. So I just wanted the opportunity to kind of explain that and lay it out for the board.
In year-round, you want to describe a little bit of the work that we do with our manufacturers in town? That's part of the preparation and the training and the practice?
Yeah, so I kind of covered this a couple months ago. We do have what we look at as our high-risk buildings. We purposely have them set up on a 3-year rotation by the number of them. These are large assembly areas such as schools, Six Flags, Gurnee Mills, all of our chemical companies. We go in and we train specifically with them. We do walkthroughs of their buildings specifically to learn in all of our large chemical companies. We train along with the staff. Quite often we do joint operations, work through their systems, and make sure our stuff's all there. When we do this, we always bring in a mutual aid company. We invite Waukegan if they're the first closest company. We also in turn go to their buildings. Grays Lake, the same thing. So we have the opportunity. So we set them up on every 3-year rotation. We do training with them all the time. And we look at, all of our high risk, and that's always being evaluated as different buildings and things come to town.
Any questions from the trustees just on Friday night in general? I know it's still an active investigation, so there's not a lot that John can release to us, but I thought you guys would appreciate at least hearing a little bit.
Can I just ask
Trustee Balmas?
Was there a fire first and then the explosion? I've heard 2 different accounts. Can you answer that?
The mayor alluded to it. It's under active investigation. It's another town's thing. So we were notified of an explosion through our 911. I can share that's what came in first to us. Okay. I really don't know. And their fire marshal, and they've got federal agencies in here, looking into it. So I just don't want to speculate beyond that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Since Christopher walked back in, thanks to our great IT, fire department has everything at their fingertips on the laptops and their equipment. Police department has everything at their fingertips on those laptops, at their fingerprints, in their car. Communication worked flawlessly. So that, again, that's just the things that Christopher and his team work on all year. This is when you see it come to fruition. Thank you, Christopher. Trustee Hood?
Chief, my understanding when you go out and do these, walking through the manufacturing companies, is that the materials they have on site. So I take it that they share that information with you so that we're prepared, so that if there's an explosion and there was going to be some gas release, that would be something we'd know of companies in town. Is that right?
So we have pre-plans of our buildings, which years ago used to be in paper, but as the mayor pointed out, with Chris's team and that, we actually have access to all of our pre-plans on every vehicle within our fire department. So we can access them, pull up there. The other part that we back within the building, we also have MSDS sheets, which all federal, it's a federal law. They have to send all their chemical lists with us. Now we have files back at the station with those. We do not carry those. We're actually looking at a program where we may get those downloaded into the computers. So as we bring shift recall back in and we're able to work with them, we can get the exact chemicals and quantities from there. We do have a list and drawings and locations of chemicals on every building available to us on our computers in the vehicles.
So when you're heading to a scene, that's something that you know before you got there?
You know the general layout because you walk through it. The list of chemicals you definitely have to pull up to read and look at a little bit. Some of the higher risk we know more often, but there are chemicals, through our district. So to memorize everyone's stuff.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Chief.
Trustee Garner?
Yes, I just wanted to commend you on the job that was done. I happened to be in the area. I was carpooling my daughter and her friends, taking them home, and they lived at Delaney and Wadsworth Road, basically, and so I happened to be going by when all of your people were responding, and it was amazing how big an event it was, yet the traffic was flowing. It was very coordinated, and it just shows that the preparedness of our guys, and I heard emergency vehicles even an hour after the explosion happened, and I'm like, man, there's fire trucks are still going down there. But I was able to go through the traffic, and Delaney wasn't tied up. Debris was in the streets, and it was still a very well-organized event. And so just wanted to say, great job.
Well, it's great to hear. I know the police department did the same thing. They called their version of a box alarm. They brought police officers, so there were officers from all different communities sitting in different intersections, directing traffic, and they were working directly with Fire Command, and we were letting them know the size of perimeters, initially make them a little larger, and then once we started realizing what we had, we started to shrink the perimeters to keep traffic flow going. So thank you for
Job well
acknowledging that.
done.
Trustee Thorstensen?
So I will echo as well, congratulations and thank you, our police, our fire, our 911 communicators. Jack, tremendous job. Chris, thank you for being the backbone to set it all up for us. I do have one question. Since we assisted and we didn't own the disaster site and all of that, will your team participate in an after-action review or not necessarily?
The host agency is the one that does that and decides to host those. We push as an industry to do that more often. Something this size and scope, I would sure hope they're going to have an after action. Yes, we will be invited. We will make sure the responders on scene are there, as well as our command team also are there. That's how we learn, going to incidents. We share our knowledge back and forth. So I would expect so. Too early at this point, obviously, to have heard anything with that. So, but we will.
Thank you.
And I also want to point out, we do inspections throughout the year, or at least annually, to make sure that exits are marked, they're not blocked, they don't have things piled up in the wrong places. So we are very on top of what's going on in these buildings, what they're doing, and that it's everybody knows how to get out and are able to get out and those types of things. So, and we have the monitors too for the chemicals that, things that Jack would be relying on as to whether we needed to alert the public or not. So, I mean, a lot of that happens so quickly. They evaluate, is there a risk to property or the public? And then there's a protocol for when we put out the notices and stuff, but we can do them very quickly. But we're also, the fire department, building department is very proactive about making sure these, no matter how long ago it was built, that they are, exits are still marked, they're not blocked, things like that. So, you kind of forget about it until you have an incident like this, and then you start thinking about, well, what about our town and our buildings and stuff. Trustee Balmas?
And just curiosity for myself personally, but with that ammonia leak, some of the pictures, and maybe it was taken afterwards, I would have thought people would have had to wear masks. And, like the first responders that had gone there that were hospitalized because of it, do we equip our police vehicles for something, for an instance like that? I would think that would have helped them.
The initial 911 calls came in for something different than a leak. It came in more as a car accident because there was actually a car that went through. There was a car accident rollover a little bit down the line. So the initial responding units were heading to a car accident. There was also right on a jurisdictional line with Zion, the county, and Beach Park. So there was a little bit of confusion in some of the 911 calls. So they were coming to two different incidents at the same time. So you saw people getting out at a car accident when another department was responding to a leak. So that's where you might have seen some of the early on pictures. Yes, the fire department all was on SCBA as soon as it was identified, and the police officers were backed up as far as possible. They carry some respirator, but something like that, they would be moved back immediately. They wouldn't have proper pressurized
So
air
the fire
breathing.
department would have been the ones with the masks, but not the police. They would have been.
They would have been further away directing traffic at the edge of, we'll call the warm zone versus the hot zone, which is actually the area where the concentrate was. So they would be backed off. And that's standard protocol in a hazardous material incident. But what happened was it being toned out as a vehicle accident, no mention of there for certain crews, and other crews were given that information. Multiple dispatch centers, multiple jurisdictions were responding simultaneously. Once again, that all is being looked into much higher up, so I'm just giving you what I know. The NTSB actually came down, they're pulling everything on that from 911 calls all the way through all the dispatch centers to the actual response. So there'll be a report written on that entire response, which we'll learn from.
Okay, thank you.
And there's always lessons to learn out of every incident. I know Pat and I, you'll find out, we're going to talk about communication CTY based on the size of this event and how it played out and what we may want to do differently in that. So there'll be tabletops here too. Did you have a question, Trustee O'Brien?
I just want to make a quick statement. On Friday, I was still just a citizen. I hadn't been sworn in yet. And I know I went to bed at night, but I do know that that event started after a normal workday for you guys. And you worked all night long, and I woke up the next morning, and I was comfortable in my bed, and I knew you guys were still working. So I just wanted to say thank you for all that.
We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. We don't have a normal work hour or work day. All right, thank you. And again, I actually saw that Battalion Chief Douglas was here after, otherwise I would have had him stand up and recognize him individually. I didn't see him in the crowd. So please express our gratitude.
I will share along with all the shifts. Thank you again.
All right. All right, no other reports, no old business?
Correct.
All right, we'll move on to new business. Item number 1 is approval of ordinance 2019-29, authorizing execution of a 1-year contract extension with MC Squared Energy Services for the provision of 100% renewable electricity for the Village of Gurnee's electrical aggregation program under a ComEd price match program. This needs some explanation.
Sure. So Jack is in charge of our municipal electrical aggregation program. He put together a quick PowerPoint presentation here because there's a little twist on the program this year, so he's going to walk us through that.
All right, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Mayor. So I'm also joined here by Sharon Derling from NIMEC if there's some questions that I can't answer. Essentially, we've had our municipal electric aggregation program since 2012. I mentioned it at the last meeting, so I won't go through the whole process, but usually what we do at this point is we do a bid. It went at noon today were the bid results, and by tomorrow we have to sign a contract because electricity is a commodity and it's constantly changing in price. Like any other commodity, it's a daily trade. So when we look at the different options, we were a little bit worried about the program this year just because ComEd's rates have gotten very competitive. They're at a point that currently, ComEd's rate is slightly lower than the village's rate for the first time in the history of the program. So we were very afraid that what would happen is ComEd would get lower than us continually, and this no longer is a price savings program. It could be a costly program, and that's not something that we want to do. It still saves residents money up until recently, so we're looking at other options. So we received the bids today. Across the board, ComEd's rate for the next cycle is 7.06 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's so I guess I'll get into the details. So the difference between 7.06 and let's say 7.049 is a fraction of a cent. So you're talking negligible amount in your bill. So when we look at all these, the lowest bidder was Allego Energy at 6.99. So they broke for a 1-year contract. They broke the $7 mark. Now the risk is ComEd's rate is a variable rate. It goes up and down throughout the seasons. It could go significantly lower. It could go higher. So you're always kind of doing a little bit of a gamble. Again, it's paid off up until recently. So we were considering our options of just going to ComEd was probably what I was going to recommend tonight originally, to just go to ComEd's program. Now our current vendor, MC Squared, has rolled out a new product called EcoGreen. And I'll explain a little bit about this, and it's highlighted here at the bottom. So unlike these other offerings in our current program, which are not renewable energy based, our current program is a mix of coal, nuclear power, and other sources, whereas renewable usually is a much higher price. So in the past, we haven't considered renewable because it wasn't cost effective. We allowed residents to personally opt in, but not as a village. So this new product is called EcoGreen. So essentially what they do is they offer 100% renewable energy. It comes from Midwest wind farms, some of it from Illinois, not all of it, but throughout the Midwest. And so it's a guaranteed price match to ComEd's rate, including their PEA, which is a fluctuating rate. So they will constantly be matching whatever a resident would pay for ComEd, they'll pay the exact same for this rate. And in return, getting 100% renewable, and there's no rate risk. So the nuance essentially of how it works. So how could they afford to do something of this cost? Is kind of the, like, what's the hidden catch, I guess. So essentially, if this bar graph represents 10 Gurnee households and their different usages. So the usages here, these are your people who use off-peak hours. These are the users that the energy companies love. They only turn their air conditioning on when it hits 90 degrees. They're the super users for being conserving electric. Now, these users up here are the ones who run their AC. They're switching between AC and heat right now. They're using a lot of energy. They might work from home. They have a lot higher bills. They're not good customers for them. But an electric aggregation program, this green line would represent, they have to take everybody. It's essentially, they take all accounts for good or bad. With this program, what they do is MC Squared goes through, they have the account data already, that's part of this program, and they identify these customers. And so these are the ones that they want. So what they do is they take the green customers onto MC Squared. The red customers get reverted to ComEd. So according to the resident, it's no different, and I'll show a second what their bills would look like of the two. But in return for this, all of these red customers are still through 100% renewable certificates. So I'll explain kind of how the certificates and the credits work. There's a lot of nuance here, and I'm trying to be time efficient. So what it would look like. So here's two different bills essentially put together. It's the same person using the same watts. One, they both get a bill from ComEd under their supplier, so there wouldn't even be this MC Squared logo, we just have it for clarification. It would list out the pricing. It's slightly different named, but essentially it would be identical price. So two different residents would have slightly different bill, whether they're on ComEd or MC Squared. Most won't know, and it makes no difference in their electric. They're both getting green electric. It's just that MC Squared is actually selling the electric into the system, so they're profiting off of the residents that are buying their electric, and then they're taking their profits and buying certificates for other residents. So, to explain how it works, again, a little bit nuanced in the science. So, what this means is Gurnee, if we accept this program, will be 100% renewable energy. What it doesn't mean is that if we're under the program, that the light bulbs at any one given minute would be coming from solar or wind. The only way you can do that is if you hook up directly. If you put solar panels on your house, you can say that you're being powered by solar. So in a current program, the fossil fuel generators put into the system, and then a community like us would buy electricity for 31,000 residents. In this program, the wind power, they also feed into the system, and what we do is for every megawatt we use, we get a certificate. It's a way that they create a currency out of renewable energies, and so we purchase certificates. And so what that's doing is we are taking Gurnee's entire buying power out of the coal business and putting it into renewable energies. So in reality, your house isn't being powered by it, but you're still, all Gurnee purchased electric for small accounts and residential is for renewable. So I'll keep explaining a little bit more. I know it's a nuanced concept, but essentially what it means and why it's an impact. For the CO2 and the carbon reduction equivalent for 1 year of Gurnee, what this will do is this would be the equivalent of taking off 171 million miles driven by passenger vehicles, or 76 million pounds of coal. So it's not just a small environmental impact, it's a major environmental impact by switching to a renewable source. And then we'd be supporting that and leaving a smaller carbon footprint as a village. So the EPA, essentially, they recognize communities that they call their Green Power Partner Program. They look at how much energy municipalities buy, and then they rank them by who are the most green. NIMEC has a bunch of communities that they've been getting switched onto this program. Some of them have just recently done renewals, and we're all opting in. Of the top 10% by usage from the EPA, they listed on their website, they're all the NIMAC clients. And Gurnee will be in here somewhere too. The difference of why this isn't 100% is because it doesn't include commercial, because commercial can do their own, and it also doesn't include people who would opt out. So we would be somewhere we'd probably be a little bit lower. We'd probably be more similar to Tinley Park, just being much more of a commercial-based community where the bedroom communities would have a higher percentage. But we'll still be in the top 10 nationally of green energy communities. And this is just a side note, this isn't why we're doing it, but they do send you a sign saying that you're, a green power partner community. So this is just, I guess, to show too that an agency does dedicate you as a green power community. So the next steps after this, so if we do approve this contract, we hit the ground running. So we have a opt-out window. It's coming up pretty quick, so we'll work with NIMAC to get the mailers out. Again, it'll look exactly like it does in years past. We can do some PR about it being the renewable program, but according to residents, it'll be the same story as it is every year. It's just a new contract, and this year we have no fear of ComEd beating us in price. So it'll be price competitive and also good for the environment. We see it as a win, and that's why I think NIMAC has been able to move so many of their municipal clients onto this contract, because it's a win for everybody. Questions?
I'm sure there's a lot of them. I will remind the board that not this current strategic plan, but the one before, it was an important priority for us to go green, and so staff has continued, even though we're into a new five-year strategic plan, to look for opportunities to be more green. So this does fit with that. I know it is important to keep trying, and it doesn't seem like you can lose on this because you always get the best electrical rate, which is a bottom line for some of our residents. So questions?
My only concern is that it be seamless.
Trustee Garner, just so the recording picks up who it is. That's fine.
My only concern is that it be a seamless switch.
Yeah, and the nice thing is I would be probably a little bit more concerned if it was a new vendor, but we've been with MC Squared for a couple renewals now, and they're phenomenal. That's part of this too, is when you get these bids in, you're not certain who's going to be the low bidder. MC Squared, they have Chicago offices, a dedicated number to Gurnee, and so their customer service is, compared to some of the major companies, is phenomenal in that regard. So I do think that'll be beneficial, but we'll just have to communicate it. There'll be some challenges for sure, and it's a tight window. So,
questions? Trustee O'Brien?
Just one question and then one comment. Question number 10, nationally or in Illinois?
Nationally.
Wow.
So it was originally before NIMAC and this program came into the ballpark, it was all California communities, essentially. They have a lot of push towards it, lots of green environmental communities. Illinois has the rare power in essentially our Constitution that allowed for electric aggregation. So most states don't allow communities to go out and do it. So they're basically ranking communities that have done it through other ways, opt-in programs, stuff like that. But we're one of the few states that allows us to do an opt-out program to basically make it not, that people can get out of it, but most people are in it. So that's why these Illinois communities are in the top 6 in the country.
Neat. Well, I for one am excited. No additional cost to the village and the residents, and we're able to offer electric service produced with 100% renewable energy, farmed right here in the Midwest from wind. So that's cool.
It is. Very creative. It fits with our goals and objectives that we've had. So, so we're supposed to vote on this tonight. I mean, you actually need us. Oh, we have an ordinance. Okay.
Yeah, the pricing's only good for 24 hours, so we need to lock it in. And prior renewals, the bids haven't taken place on a village board meeting day, so you've authorized me to execute the agreement and bring it back to you. This happened to line up where we can remove one step where I authorize it and then bring it to you. So this is straight to you guys tonight.
You don't have to sweat it.
Nope, straight to you tonight.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee Garner. Roll call, please, Andy.
Balmas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
6 aye.
All right. Motion carries. Say that. Item number 2, approval of ordinance 2019-30, authorizing an amendment to the professional services agreement between the Village of Gurnee and Strand Associates related to design engineering services for the Knowles Road Water Tower in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Patrick?
Sure. So you had a memo from one of our engineers, Nick Leach, on this, who's heading up the Knowles Road Water Tower project. This will be the second amendment to the Strand contract. They're the engineering firm that's been most heavily involved in this project from the beginning, as far as helping with the bid documents, the contract, the design engineering review of the majority of the shop drawings. So the tower is obviously under construction. As we've worked through that process, there's been some more back and forth between the village, Strand, and the contractor than we expected. As we're not the experts, and Strand is, we've relied on them more heavily. This has ate up a lot of those dollars that were approved in the first amendment. So to get to the finish line here, we're looking at another $10,000 bump in this contract. Overall, that takes the contract to $272,000. I'd remind the board it's a $6 million project overall. So while the $10,000 is a decent bump, we want to make sure we get it right the first time. I've talked to staff, and they've assured me that this will be enough to see it through to the end. So this should be the last time you see us come back with an amendment to this contract.
Questions from the trustees?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Ross. Roll call, please, Andy.
Balmas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
6 ayes.
All right, motion carries. Item number 3, approval of ordinance 2019-31, authorizing a change order to the professional services agreement between the Village of Gurnee and Patrick Engineering for the Quiet Zone study and improvements in the amount of $6,000. Patrick?
Sure. Again, a memo from Nick on this. We've been working on the quiet zone since 2016 up at the Granville crossing. So that's at grade crossing, and as the trains come through there, they need to sound their horns, which is disruptive to the neighborhood. So we've been looking at establishing a quiet zone. We've been working with Patrick Engineering on it as far as looking at the crossing, evaluating the risks if they remove the horn, what design changes would have to be needed in order to implement the quiet zone. Also received a grant to help with any changes that may be needed up there. But we believe that there may be the appropriate safety equipment on site already, and we'd like to bring Patrick Engineering in for an on-site to actually open up some boxes, look at the electronics and the systems in place. If what we suspect is up there, we shouldn't need the grant funding, and it shouldn't be as big of a deal. If that equipment is not in place, then it will be a bigger deal, and we will need the grant funding. Either way, it's a project we want to continue to pursue, but like I said, just need to do some more on-site due diligence, so this $6,000 will allow us to do that.
Questions from the trustees?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion by trustee Ross, second by trustee Thorstenson. Roll call, please, Andy.
Balmas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
6 ayes.
All right. Motion carries. Someday.
I can't believe it's been since 2016 that we started talking about it, but it's the railroad.
All right, item number 4, approval of Engineering Division's recommendation to award 2019 Ferndale Street Water Main Replacement Project to the low bidder, Campanella and Sons, at a cost of $804,314.41.
Sure. This was included in this year's capital budget. The stretch of water main between Route 41 and 132 along Ferndale is original to the system, so it dates back to the 60s. Been having issues out there with some significant breaks, a lot of clamps on that. So we sent it out to bid. We received bids back from 6 companies. They range from $804,000 to about $1.3 million. Our staff estimated the contract at about $894,000. Which also includes some storm sewer improvements along the length of the project as well. So take care of the water main as well as some drainage issues. Campanella and Sons out of Wadsworth was a low bidder. Obviously, we've worked with them on many projects, always been satisfied with the work. It's a quality firm, so staff's recommended to move forward with that low bidder and get that project going.
Questions from the trustees?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion from trustee Balmas, second from trustee Garner. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Hood.
Yes.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
6-0.
All right, did good for your first meeting. Felt natural, right? All right, I will open the floor for public comment. State your name for the record. Your address is optional.
Hello, good evening. My name is Yolanta Pamatlo. I'm a Gurnee resident. First of all, thank you so much for the incredible response that you and your team have put out with the fire and the big explosion. It was incredible. So thank you for all the hard work. Over the past 6 months, or 6 months ago, Lake County residents became aware of cancer-causing ethylene oxide emissions next to our homes and schools. Today is May 6th, and we have yet to see ambient air monitoring results, which will help us understand the health implications of the air we are breathing. To say that things are progressing slowly is an understatement, despite an active push for action by our community at all levels of our government. On Friday evening, our citizens were shaken to the core in fear and alarm by a massive explosion that was felt and heard miles away. To quote my 5-year-old son, Adam, immediately after the incident that shook our house, "Mama, hold me, I'm scared." Being the prudent parent that I am, and because I know what looms in the industrial area of East Gurnee, I immediately put my sons in the car and drove south, evacuating my home. My motto has always been, better safe than sorry. No child should have to breathe in the aftermath of an industrial accident. Friday's incident could have been even more catastrophic because the AB Specialty Silicones plant is in close proximity to other volatile facilities, including Vantage Specialty Chemical, which uses ethylene oxide in its manufacturing process. Over the past 6 months, we have spoken out about the carcinogenic qualities of ethylene oxide. What we have not fully emphasized is the explosive nature of the gas. Ethylene oxide is highly flammable and extremely explosive. Due to its explosive properties, it is used as a main component of thermobaric weapons, and several industrial accidents across the country have been attributed to ethylene oxide explosions. Not only is ethylene oxide a cancer and reproductive hazard, but it's an explosion hazard that poses a major risk to our community. We have homes, schools, and daycares next to Vantage. Friday's explosion of AB Specialty Silicones leaves me with many questions. Is Vantage an ethylene oxide plant that runs safely day in and day out? Was Vantage damaged in any way as a result of this tragic incident? Have any other structures in the surrounding area been compromised by the immense force of the explosion? What would the impact have been if it was Vantage that exploded? What if Friday's explosion was not contained successfully, and a chain reaction of explosions and fires were to occur and spread? How many more lives would have been lost? I now feel a deep sense of discomfort knowing that our homes and schools are literally next door to these types of chemical facilities. Friday's tragic incident has provided a stark reminder of the dangers that loom in our backyards. We are extremely thankful to our first responders for containing the fire and preventing what could have been a major catastrophe. It is now evident more than ever that our lives are all at the mercy of these companies and their plant workers. We can only hope that they follow all safety procedures and protocols, that they are appropriately trained, and that the equipment that they use is proactively evaluated and maintained to ensure safety. No cost should ever be spared to warrant safety because our lives depend on it. Thank you.
All right, any other public comment? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.